Well, my name is Arthur Braud. I'm a primarily watercolor painter, but I'm a painter and a drawer and I guess a professional artist, you'd say. Well, I come from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I mean, growing up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, I mean, it's not necessarily conservative. It's a college town, so it has a lot of liberal, conservative aspects combined together. So I grew up in a Vietnamese household. My dad's actually from New Orleans. My mom's from Vietnam. So they have very different values and both have very thick accents, which I didn't realize until I went to school with everyone and they'd all point out my parents' accents and say, "Oh, I can't understand either of your parents. That's why you say weird, like things weird," because I would get both their accents. So I say some words a little strange even when I'm here. People point it out. So I grew up in a very diverse household. I mean, with two different huge cultures. And growing up, it was kind of hard to find myself. I mean, when you're in a household where the culture influences your values so much, it's really hard to gain some self-independence and self-value outside of that culture. And I struggled a lot with that growing up, especially since I went into a school district where I was the only other Asian in my class. I mean, maybe there were two, but they were both Filipino and I was Vietnamese, and then the only other Asians in our school, it was like a school about 400, my high school, 450, were my cousins. So when there would be an Asian, they're like, "Oh, is that your cousin?" Because it's just like, it wasn't like a racist thing, it was like a natural thing, just because that's really how it was. So growing up, I honestly neglected a lot of my culture. And I bring this in mainly because this is mainly what influences my work right now. It's just me neglecting myself, and my culture was a huge part of my childhood. And it's a huge part of my work now. And I think not only that, I think the struggles I went through kind of built who I am, and it was I went to art as a coping mechanism, kind of just to find self-value, because I was really struggling as a child and as a teenager to really value myself in a world or a society that wasn't valuing who I was culturally, but also who I was sexual orientation wise. And I kind of neglected that, and I pushed both of them under the rug. Like growing up, I wouldn't eat my lunch because people would make fun of it. And then I wouldn't be interested in what I was actually interested because people would make fun of that. So I had I didn't have the best childhood, I would say. Personally, when I hear a lot of great stories about people having a great childhood and being happy, I wasn't that kid. I have a belief that art has a way of communicating with others in ways that, words cannot. And what I mean by that is when you look at a picture, you have the ability to feel instantly connected with that person who's creating it or that person who's in the picture. And I think for me, what really draws me to the art I'm creating is its ability to share stories with others who share similar stories. So I think what fuels my art is the ability for me to share my insecurities with others and have them look back and feel touched and feel like they're in the same place as me. And that right there is a feeling you don't get when you have a simple sentence shared with someone. And I think the picture has the ability or a painting has the ability to instantly connect two strangers and make them feel so close. So a lot of my work deals with my own insecurities growing up and my own, personal struggles. So a lot of my work deals with kind of embracing those struggles and showing the beauty of it while also showing the oppression and showing the negative side of it. And some of my work, my most recent work, it deals with kind of embracing femininity, and while embracing it, there's this social negative view of it as well right now, where if you're embracing your feminine side, it's still shown as weak. And I mean, that's a controversial statement, but it's still so true. Like, if you're a man and you show your feminine side in this culture, people aren't gonna go praise you. They're not gonna say great things about your action. And I think for me, a lot of my work is trying to still embrace that beauty, because there is a beauty to it. Any self-employed field is difficult at first, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of analyzing your own life. I mean, you go through ups and downs with yourself. You go through a lot of insecurities, learning about yourself through rejection, through acceptance, and I think because honestly, anyone can be where I am if their mind's in the right place. And honestly, I do think it has to do with where your mind is. Some people have the strength to keep going through the rejection. Actually, I think everyone does have the strength to keep going through rejection and through failures, but it's maintaining that positive mentality and just pushing yourself, honestly. I mean, waking up in the morning and asking yourself who you want to be and what you want to do in this world. I think we all have stories to share, and I think we all have something we want to prove, whether it's creative or whether it's in a work field. I think we all have this drive to prove something or prove someone wrong or speak up. And I think just really pushing yourself to always learn about it and always learn about yourself, and never taking rejection or taking even an insult of your own work as something to bring yourself down for. I think everything that happens for a reason. I truly believe that. And I think we can always take a lesson from what happens no matter what. Well, that's kind of the mentality I think is important when you're, again, pursuing a passion. It's just, don't take no for an answer. Keep going and keep doing it as long as it makes you happy. You shouldn't need to find validation through others. Like, you find it through yourself. And I think that's really important. It's also really hard these days with social media, because now we can literally measure our value by our likes. And our productivity on Instagram. So I think it's really damaging to our mental health if we're always comparing ourselves by how many likes we got last week or how many people are buying our works this week. And that's why I think it's important to have that job, so you don't have to worry about the money at first. I mean, once things get rolling, you get to a place where you don't have to worry so much about the income, because you have a community, you have a fan base, you have supporters. But when you're first starting out, it's important to have that really good mindset. Like, you're gonna get there as long as you keep pushing. And I truly believe anything is possible as long as you keep working for it. The thing I needed to be told growing up was, you are significant. And I think that is the greatest thing I would tell my younger self. I would tell myself that I am significant and I am worth something. Because I think growing up, I just didn't believe I was, or I didn't think I was. I didn't have that value that I should have had. And I had a lot of, honestly, like, looking back, I kind of look at it where, like, the younger version of myself, whenever I look back at my childhood, isn't, like, part of me. And when I look back at it, I just see this kid who had so much passion for things and had so many dreams, but shut himself down because he didn't think he could achieve them, or he didn't think he was worth it. And I think my greatest advice definitely would be just to tell myself that I am significant, and that I can do anything I want to, and that can go to, I think that, I guess it depends what they want to be. Some people want to be horrible things, so as long as it's a positive thing for everyone can be what they want to be. But yeah, I think happiness overall stems from being grateful, and I think that being grateful of where you are and what you have comes from, I think first you need to be happy with it in yourself, and I think you need to have that value for yourself. And I keep going back to that because I honestly think I honestly strongly believe you really need to value yourself to find happiness. And whether that's through what you love, what you do, your work, you need to do what gives you that value and what makes you valuable to yourself. And I think once that comes out, I think that's where you find happiness and success. I think success can't necessarily be measured. Everyone's success is a little different, of course. Personally, my success is the ability to be grateful and the ability to be grateful for who you are and what you have, and happy with truly who you are and where you are.